Welcome everybody to our latest Live Motocross podcast with Whiskey Throttle as we talk all things MXoN, Team USA reaction and Las Vegas from what was a thrilling weekend and few days of action. Obviously, firstly, thank you everyone for listening and supporting the site. We really appreciate it. We'd also like to thank our partners in 24MX, Dirt Store, Fuchs Silkline and Dragon Energy for all their incredible support, as without them, none of this would be possible. All right, for this one, I'm joined again by the great man, Whiskey Throttle, Editor-at-Large, Jeff Beaver. How's life and thanks for joining us, mate. It's been a busy few days for you as always, but yeah, how you traveling?
Oh, good, man. I'm back to my regular job, which absolutely sucks. Last weekend I was in Las Vegas for 2 days running around the track filming the final, and now I'm getting up at 2 a.m. and going and working 13 hours a day at a chemical plant in Houston. So it makes you rethink life until you get your paycheck. Then you're like, oh, that's why I'm here. But yeah, just busy, busy, busy. But a couple more weeks and I'll be done, and I'm gonna take a long break and probably toss my phone in the corner and not talk to anybody for at least 2 days.
Yeah, mate, it's a crazy schedule. Obviously, you got the GP final this weekend in Spain and the Motocross of Nations, which we've just been having a chat about. But obviously, we've got to start, mate. Team USA, obviously, Tomac's in. Some crazy turns of events. Obviously, firstly, Hymas dropping out last week and Cooper Webb picking it up. And then Sexton obviously getting injured and landed on by Barsha. So he's out. Tomac's answered the call, mate. Obviously, it's going to be exciting to see how it plays out for him. It's a winning team for sure, potentially. Experienced campaigners. They're all ready to rise to the occasion on the big stage. And I guess a lot of thanks must go to Tomac for stepping up, mate, because there was a bit of chat that if he didn't go, they weren't going to go at all. So, it just adds to the quality and the sort of the allure of the event, doesn't it? Having someone like Tomac. I believe he's been 4 times before. He's won it before. And, respect to the man on short notice for stepping up, isn't it really? Obviously, he was keen to do it. And then he sort of said, no, look, AP's better just at the end of motocross there. So it's been a bit chaotic, mate, but I guess the team's got plenty to prove and it's just great that they're there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. The last, since SMX started, at Charlotte, we're like, oh man, AP hit the dirt and rode like crap, and Imus didn't ride well. We're like, oh shit, this isn't good. And then, um, and then it just kind of got worse and worse. And then, with Hymus dropping out of the series and out of MX of Nations is like, man, I kind of had a feeling that would happen. Not that nothing bad to say about Chance. I think he's a savage, but I was just worried. I was like, man, I don't think that dude's knee's gonna hold up. He dabs it one time, he's in trouble, and I'm sure that's probably what he did. He tweaked it at the race, and so he's out, and it's like, okay, we've got Cooper Webb going, and Cooper Webb's a gamer, but he was off for a while, and he didn't light the world on fire too big at the Super Motocross, but it's Cooper Webb, right? So he may do very, very well and just surprise everybody. And then yeah, so poor Sexton, dude. I mean, 2 years in a row at the final, he tucks the front end and brains himself, and then gets landed on by Bam Bam. And he already is not a big fan of SMX. What happened to him both years was none of SMX's fault, but it's just, God, man, the guy just, I feel so bad for him, dude. He looked so stoked to go into that last round, and he kind of had his meltdown the week before, and just kind of a crappy way for him to end the year. And I'm hoping that kind of fuels the fire for him. And then, you know, Ping and I were talking about this. Is like, does Tomac say yes? Because yeah, if Tomac said no, we just couldn't field a winning team at this point, I don't think. And I told David, I said, I think he will say yes. I think Vegas pissed him off. I think he did not like losing to Jet like that, and I don't think he wanted to come in and just race a couple races and then put the bike on the shelf until January. So I think he wants another shot at a knockdown drag out with Junior one more time. So it's kind of funny, we got kind of the old dogs going over there. Everybody's 30 something years old. We got the AARP crew heading in, but they'll whoop your ass if you're not careful, right? But it's it's going to be definitely interesting. I think AP will hold his own. Tomac's definitely going to hold his own. It's just, I think the $64,000 question is what Cooper Webb's going to do. I think he's the wild card on. He's racing the MX2, right? So he's going up against some pretty heavy hitters with DeWolf and the Cohens, and I don't know all the other players in there, but just those two guys, those three dudes are some serious heavy hitters in the 250 class. And we all also saw how Grandpa Roxon did when he went out to Iron Man, and Deegan slapped him around and made him look silly, you know. So I hope that doesn't happen to Cooper. But yeah, I'm super stoked that ET3 said, hell yeah, I'll go. Yeah, America. So yeah, if I wasn't so damn exhausted, my brain wasn't laying in a puddle in the corner of my brain, I'd be a little more enthusiastic. But yes, I am stoked. Anytime anybody's going to go fly the red, white, and blue and pick a fight, I'm down.
Yeah, mate, it's pretty impressive effort. Obviously, getting two-star guys on there, which is really sort of a bit of a change of tack from obviously the Deegan thing, and they weren't sure what was going on. But obviously, he's getting the operation now to take the hardware out. But I suppose it's all worked out in the end, mate, and that's really cool. And the fans there in attendance are going to love it. You know, AP, let's hope he dyes the hair like you suggested in the press conference, mate. He seemed to enjoy that. And I guess his starts have been pretty good as a whole this season. Tomax have been really good. He puts that scoop on and he's away. Obviously, Webb, you know, a bit hit and miss. But if they get those starts, those really good bikes they'll be working with, obviously a lot of things they have to adapt to over there with the rules and whatnot. But it's going to be interesting to see if they get those starts. They're definite contender, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Eli's starts have been great. I imagine Matterley's going to be soft and ruddy and wet, you know, being England. And uh, I think he'll probably do pretty damn good. And he just loves that spec tire scoop. And AP, you know, he went 4-4 at Vegas against arguably some of the best in the world, especially with a hybrid track like that. So he was impressive. It's gonna be fun to see.
Yeah, it's going to be so good, mate. Obviously, the nations, yeah, it's coming up quick, obviously. And that, yeah, MX2 class is pretty stacked. He's going to have his work cut out. Webb, obviously. You got the Aussie Webster, Kiwi Brody Connolly, like you said, DeWolf, Vial, Anstey, Adamo, Langenfelder, Sasha Coonan, Oliver, Harrop, and McClellan on the factory Triumphs, and Razoulis, the Latvian on the MX2 factory Yamaha. He's a weapon as well, mate. So he's going to have his work cut out for him. It's not going to be easy, but he's a guy that just loves the challenge. And you got to respect it because in some ways there's not heaps to gain because, you know, you could easily go quite wrong. So in the case of Webb, it's a really good effort, and obviously Tomac as well. He's going to be dialed, but yeah, these guys they've got a lot of pride and they want to prove themselves, don't they? So it's got to be admired.
Well, out of all, yeah, and out of all the MXGP guys, you know, we all know our thoughts on America. America number one. Fuck yeah, that's what we want. But what about like out of DeWolf and Vial and Anstey? Where do those
Ooh.
guys stack up? What's the pulse of everybody like in Australia and Europe? What do they think?
Well, it's going to be obviously really hard to beat DeWolf. He probably comes in as the favourite, but you know, Viala's just, you know, he knows the track well. He's been there. You know, Anstey's won the nations there before, you know, his class, and Adamo's the world champion from last year. He hasn't won a GP this year, so it's quite, you know, he'll want to, you know, do well. Langenfelder from Germany, he had an amazing win at Madeley a couple of years ago at MX2, so he'll be keen. And Sasha Kuhn, he gets all the starts, mate. So I think he's got 16 hole shots in MX2 or something outrageous, so he'll be on it. And then obviously you got guys like Harrop and McClellan and Razoulis that are podium level guys in MX2, so trying to fit them all in, it's going to be pretty, you know, challenging, especially for Webb. And, you know, you're under the pressure, but you'll want to rise. And if he gets the start, I reckon he'll have the speed. That bike's really good. Like, it's one of the best 250s going. But like you said with Roxon, that was a really good point. The 250s, they're wild. They don't care. They just let it all hang out. And if you get buried, you're in for some serious carnage if it doesn't go your way. But you'd have to probably put DeWolf at the top of the pile. But I guess that MX2 class is important. There's so many heavy hitters. And like, I suppose when you're picking favorites, you're looking for teams that can all win their class. And on their day, America definitely could do that. And same with the Dutch and same with the French. So, you know, maybe Australia, Webster's usually races a 450. It's probably going to be quite tough, but if you can get that top five, it puts you in a good position for the win, which Australia's never done, mate. So I guess pick apart a little bit of that, but it's certainly key to
Yeah.
start. That's all I'm going to say.
What who's racing the 250 portion for Australians?
Yeah, we got Webster, so you obviously know him well. You saw him come out and do some really good things on the 450. But he's going to have a really good HRC bike. He's obviously down in Florida working with the Lawrence brothers. He's been in preparation mode for a while, so he should have a really good rocket ship. So hopefully he gets the starts like the 450 boys have been doing. The Lawrence brothers, their starts are just dialed, and that could be a real key to success for Australia, couldn't it?
Yeah, is he riding a bike from Honda US HRC bike? So he's riding a Honda US bike. Okay. Yeah, I think he's gonna be so he's basically riding Shimoda or Hymus's bike. Okay. So that thing's a ripper. Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting. And then I imagine Hunter's MX3, obviously Jet MX1.
Yeah.
Now, where does Jet stand against Hurlings and those guys in the 450 class? Where do you put him?
It's hard not to put him top of the list, isn't it, mate? Just the way he's been riding. He's probably the premier rider in the moment in the world, But obviously Prado, guys are obviously we said Hurlings, you got Febvre, you got Tomac, you got Roxon. Obviously Lucas Coonan will be stepping up. Jeremy Sewa, Hogmo, Gifting, Tommy Searle, even though he's probably not going to be in the mix. But they're really heavy hitters in that class. It's absolutely stacked this year's nations and especially that MXGP class. But I'd probably have Jet heading in as a favourite. He's so adaptable. His starts are
Even
so
against
good.
Hurling, even against
Yeah,
Hurling.
so Hurlings is suffering a little bit. He's had those broken ribs and a burnt arm in Turkey, so he's probably not right at 100%. But he did win the British Championship on the weekend, so a bit of positivity for Hurlings coming in ahead of the GP final this weekend, and then they go straight to the nation. So those guys have got a few more gate drops, I guess, leading up to it. And I guess, motocross gate drops. So it'll be pretty interesting, but you can't go past Jet as a favourite, mate.
Well, I like Jet, but I really want to see, even if neither one of them win, I want to see between Prado and Jet because
Yeah.
Prado's coming our way in 25. So I really want to see. I would love to see them get in a freaking battle, get in a scrap, and see how hard they push it and how hard they go. Could speak a lot of volume to what we're gonna see in 2025 over here. But yeah, Prado, he's got an interesting situation coming over to the United States and being able to prep and get over here. So I don't know. Something tells me he's got a track in the backwoods with a bike in the backwoods, and I'm gonna go for a drive. And yeah, it's far away from any cameras or any cell phones is what I'm thinking his plan is. I think we're proud of gonna go zero dark 30 after donations.
Oh, mate, it's going to be good to see. Obviously, Prado's heading into this weekend. Will be focusing on getting that title secured. Obviously, him and Geiser will be charging it out. And yeah, Prado and Jet with the starts is going to be so interesting. Prado's had 16 hole shots in the GPs this year, so he's absolute dynamite out of the gate. But yeah, I really like to see how Geiser goes as well. Obviously, he's been in the fight for the MXGP title. Obviously, Slovenia aren't going to, they just, if they had that third rider that was at an elite level, they might have a chance because Pansar, he's a good MXGP rider, got top 5 in China. So yeah, Geiser's just going to be doing it for individual, I guess, supremacy. And he probably want to throw a bit of a spoiler in there too, won't he? Just to show, look who's the boss.
Yeah, yeah. To me, besides my boys over there racing, the Team America, I am really interested in the Jet Prado dynamic, and though I'd love it if ET3 spanked all of them.
Oh, he
The old
definitely
man,
could.
yeah, the old man got you. But I think they would also respect if ET3 beat him. It's kind of like, well, it's Eli Tomac.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I guess on to SMX now, mate. We've done a little nations preview there, which will probably, if we can squeeze one in next week, we might do that too. But how was the SMX reflections, I guess, on the series as a whole and Vegas? How was it from you on the track? Obviously there's a lot more positive things to say about the Vegas weekend, mate. But you had a good time. It was good for your filming. You got some absolutely awesome content as usual, mate. But how was it from your perspective? Obviously, Deegan and Jet, absolutely impressive efforts, so phenomenal. Sort of praise them enough, but they deserve the praise, don't they? Because they've just been flawless nigh on, haven't they?
Yeah, that off-road section, I absolutely loved it. From when they came out of the rhythm section to that big, 90-degree turn, hit that huge double that even the 450s, even in qualifying when it was muddy, they were having a hell of a time hitting that, dude. And even Deegan on the 250 was having a hard time getting over it. But coming over that big double to the step up and then just ripping around to that wall jump that Deegan sent it into another dimension on, and then the rollers over another tunnel through the sand and the switchbacks where uh, Masterpool put on a clinic, and then that cool little inside hip to the step down to the finish line. That whole section was sick. The inside of the stadium on the drag strip was kind of meh to me. It didn't, it was like one line, it looked cool, but it just, there was not much going on in there. And then as soon as they went over the tunnel at the start straight, things got interesting again in the rhythm section. Ask Chase about that. But overall, I thought the track was great. But dude, that place was packed. The grandstands completely full on both sides. The fences were lined. It was pretty awesome, dude. It just, the paddock was nuts, and then the after celebrations were great. We got to see Phil Nicoletti race his final race, and completely yard sailed himself before the step down and before the finish line. And He's like, I ain't going out like that. So Krusty Phil probably took a cortisone shot or something and went back out. But he was walking like he was 83 years old afterwards, chugging a Coors Light. I come around the corner and Jet Reynolds is on his bike, just getting it, dude, just doing the fattest burnout. He's in fifth gear, just getting it. He hops off. Then Cody Shock, they tag team that bike, like a $2 hooker. And Cody Shock gets on it. He's banging through fifth gear and then he stops. So we all start yelling for Phil, and Phil comes hobbling out like a senior citizen on, Novocaine everywhere. And just, dude, it was hilarious. I was walking and I gotta get my shoes on, just get off my lawn, he's already in form, right? And he chugs a Coors Light, shuffling out to the bike, hops on it, and he burns out for about 30 seconds and was like, all right, I'm done. So it was kind of cool. The last time you ever see Phil on his professional race bike, drinking a Coors Light, pinning it in fifth gear, doing a proper burnout, and he got off and Phil was done. And then of course the next day he was in Vegas, or that night, and next day he was in Vegas with all the honeys. And yeah, so Phil had a good weekend. Whether Don't let him lie to you in any of his posts. Phil had some fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, sounds like he certainly got a nice farewell, mate. He would have enjoyed himself, and credit to him. He's been a great asset for the sport, and I'm sure he'll settle into something else after his racing career and still keep active in some capacity, mate. And I guess with the crowd, who were they cheering loudest for, mate? Deegan, AP, probably not the Lawrence brothers, but yeah, Deegan was so impressive. That's back-to-back SMX titles. It's been a quick rise for him, hasn't it, mate? And he was just a class above this series, wasn't he? Won 5 of the 6 motos. Obviously, fastest lap time in both motos in Vegas, and just loves that big stage, loves the cash. 2025 is going to be excellent, isn't it, mate? With Deegan chomping at the bit for that Supercross title now.
Yeah, they cheered real big for Deegan, AP of course. Jet's getting a good amount of the cheer, but the one who's really somehow becoming the sweetheart in America is Hunter. It's like he's the underdog, right? He just he's nice, quiet demeanor, pretty funny, talking about his cow collection and a couple Aussies living in Florida collecting designer cows. Did you see that clip where he's talking about the designer cow and Tomac's just freaking dying laughing? Tomac's a redneck from Southwest Colorado, and he's just sitting there going, "Oh Jesus, what the frick do the Lawrence brothers doing with cattle, dude?" Okay. Hey, when you got that kind of money, you can buy dumb shit, but they got the Lawrence farm, but yeah, the dude's just so likable, and he's more and more. I noticed that the fans are really, really cheering for Hunter.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, mate. Obviously, what they're doing there. And I guess have some words for Pierce Brown, mate. Giving that team, the TLD Gas team, in that form a farewell. Giving himself a great farewell, too, because obviously he's going to be off to Star Racing. So, how good was that ride by Pierce, mate? It was super impressive.
Dude,
Once he gets to start, he can do some damage, can't he?
yeah, I mean, when he came around in that first couple of laps, dude, I was standing in the sand corner and I was tracking Deegan, and I didn't quite realize how close Pierce was to him and how fast he was going. And he comes slamming into that berm, and it scared the shit out of me. I like jumped. I mean, it ruined my shot I had at Deegan. I was tracking him pitch and shot. I jumped out of the way because I thought he was going to come through the berm. He hit it so hard, and yeah, that dude was on one, man. I don't know if it was just he's finally figured it out, or just some people rise to the occasion when it's a special time. And that TLD team, gas part of the TLD team is not going away. Just gas is going away from the TLD team, and they're going to be on hiatus, and they're going to do some really cool shit in the pits next year. If you come over to America, you'll see for yourself. That's all I can say. But the TLD team is not going away, just the gas portion. And unfortunately, with a year of no racing, the riders had to go find a home, and so Pierce left, and that had to suck for him because he's been with him since the amateur days, right? And his mechanic's a great guy, and it was just super cool to see Will Hahn and his mechanic and him all celebrating behind the podium. And I think I finally saw somebody who drops more F bombs than I do. That dude, every other word was an F bomb. Did you saw the post I put up of Will Hahn and him, right? It was like, it would have been bleep, yeah, bleep, 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 yeah, bleep, bleep. I'm like, huh. And then Whitney Houston just popped in my sick, twisted head, and I'm all, dude, this is great. Will reposted it. There was profanity was used, because you knew talking it out over Whitney Houston isn't a good look for anybody. But I thought it was fun. So screw them if they don't like it.
Oh, mate, keep bringing the content. It's awesome. And I guess as we wrap this one up, mate, a bit of a shortened edition. You're flat strap and it's all happening, mate. So any final thoughts on SMX and Whiskey Throttle, mate? Congratulations on getting through another US racing season. Really top-notch stuff you've been delivering to the fans, and the content's been so well received. And, we love sharing it, and just the following you've amassed has just been huge, mate. So keep crushing it. Any final thoughts? And shout out to Ping and the crew as well, mate. They do a great job alongside you.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it's just that I never imagined we'd do what we did this year in followers growth or the amount of views. I mean, I haven't looked in a couple weeks, but last I looked, we were approaching 120 million views across our Instagram page, and that's just mind-boggling. How many views we've had. We've quadrupled in size and following. Our interactions are off the charts. We've got a whole just library of footage that I have, and not including the stuff Nate has to keep us going through the winter. We'll put some championship edits together and string some stuff out, and we've already got a ton of plans for how Nate and I are going to go to the test tracks every week. So you'll see, the next 2 weeks will be some stuff from this last season that we'll put out. And then the training is going to start again in a couple weeks. Supercross training is going to start. Elsinore is going to open their Supercross track. Paul is going to open their Supercross track. Hemet's got a really good Supercross track going on now. He's been, I don't know if you've ever heard of him at Supercross, but it's kind of an OG track out there that this dude's been working on a couple years, and he's taken it from kind of like to it's a legit facility now. You can go rip. A lot of the teams go out there. You'll be able to see the PC boys out there. We're gonna do some stuff with Mumford while he's healing up. I got to give him a call next week sometime. He just needed some time to get home and get through therapy. Obviously, I'm aching to get my hands on some bike builds. I haven't built a bike in 6-8 months, so may team up with him. He's got some ideas, so that'd be cool to work with Carson on a couple of two strokes or something. And he's got a facility up at his place in the high desert. I would love to go up there and train. A lot of the guys, when it rains down in SoCal, you can't ride Supercross, but you can go up to Mumford's house and race up there in the high desert. Even if it's wet and rainy, that soil just drains off up there. So I'm just super looking forward to the preseason again. It's fun as hell. The race season is a blast, but the preseason stuff where it's just you're hanging out with the riders at the track, there's no fans around, and it's just raw. It's sick. And we'll film a bunch of stuff. We'll do our best to not invade their privacy, but we're going to film a lot of shit. Just wait, you'll see. So it's been great. Thanks to everybody who's followed us, and Ping, and for letting us kind of run wild with the name and do our thing. And while he's been fighting all those fires and just doing the Whiskey Throttle show, and he just kind of makes sure I keep it on the rails and don't drive the train off a cliff, right? And make us slow down for the curves. But yeah, it's been badass, dude. I just can't freaking wait for next year.
Yeah, mate, well said. Congrats on a great season, and yeah, exciting times ahead for sure, mate. And as we wrap this one up, we'll probably do some off-season podcasts, rider interviews, just catch up. The content will keep coming, that's for sure. So obviously thanks to our partners in 24MX, Dirt Store, Fuchs Silk Lead, and Dragon Energy for all their support, as without them, none of this is possible. All right, thanks again, Jeff, for joining us, mate. We'll be in touch, and have a good one.
All right. Thanks, guys.
No worries, mate. Have a good one.